Hi and welcome everyone to this session. My name's Lucy, I'm Ellie's mum, and for anyone who has never tuned into one of our sessions before here at the Ellie's Gift Project, please know that these sessions are designed and aimed to be supportive. I'm a mental health nurse by background. I'm also a bereaved mum to Ellie, and really it's through my own practice of mindfulness and finding steadiness in other ways that I've been able to learn how to weather the storm of my own grief. Um, and for many of you, you might be very early on in this, process, or you may be a little bit further down the road with it. Um, but either way, you'll come to know that grief isn't linear. It's something that is unfortunately something that we have to learn to carry every single day. And learning how to carry it with a little bit of ease is, in my own experience and the experience of many other families who've engaged with our practices, is often very helpful because it's not something that we can necessarily get rid of, but it's something that we can certainly learn to work with and to move with as grief moves through its own cycles and seasons. Um, and this session really is an opportunity to find some steadiness, to find some space, even if it's just for this short amount of time. I know that grief can feel really overwhelming much of the time, and my own personal practices of, for example, mindfulness has really given me the space to hold that grief and hold all that runs alongside that grief. But most importantly, to find a steadiness in it all, to find, um, I guess, an island within, to find a steady place for my feet to rest, even if it's just a little while to help my nervous system settle. And this session really is around that theme. It's around finding steadiness and finding that sense of ease. So that when you do find that grief is overwhelming, which is, you know, so true and real for so many people right now, that you have maybe a practice to come back to. And everything that we share here at Ellie's Gift are all just suggestions and ideas. And of course, my kind of approach to everything is if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. So this session usually is delivered on Zoom. However, we have had lots of feedback to say that the timing wasn't quite right, and the monthly commitment didn't suit some people. So we really wanted to, as always, try to make our resources accessible on as many different levels as possible. And so this session is being streamed at the moment, and there'll be interactive parts that you can comment in to the chat box on our closed Facebook group, or of course on our YouTube channel. However, do be aware that the YouTube comments are public comments. Um, the Facebook group that we have is a private Ellie's Gift Facebook group, so if you're not already a member of that, you can join that via our website, which is ellies.gift. And the whole idea is that people can watch this either now or they can watch it and catch up at a later date. But all the same, by contributing to the chat box, you will also be able to see other things that other families have written, which in essence is really helpful because it can help to feel connected in grief. It can help to read somebody else's experience and think, yeah, that's me too. So if you do feel called to write anything, then please do. It may just help another person. So the session is designed in three parts. So the first part is a little bit of a weather check-in. I'll talk about that in a moment. They will then go into doing a guided practice with a particular focus this evening on mindful movement. And but don't worry, you don't have to move from the place that you're in. It just will involve your hands. And then we'll be finishing with a kindness practice, which we usually do at the end of every session. So the format is the same as our usual Zoom format. It's just the space that we normally hold to share comments will be this time a virtual space. So I'd like to first of all then invite the bell, just to give us all an opportunity really just to arrive. Now I know that you may feel like you have arrived here with me right now, but when we say arrive, what I'm really inviting you to do is to connect into this present moment now. So many of you may have had, well, lots of different days, variations of different days. You may be back at work now. You may not be at work now, but ultimately you're coming from a situation outside of this space into this space now, and your mind may very much be either in the past or in the future. So this bell really is an invitation for you to arrive here with me. So let's listen to one sound of the bell. You're taking in a slow, deep breath, and then releasing your breath. And as you do this, allowing the shoulders to drop down, release, relax. And then breathing at your normal pace and normal rhythm. So I have my eyes closed, but you're welcome to either lower your gaze, keep your eyes open, or you can close your eyes. So this very first part then is all about checking in with our internal weather. So when I said weather check-in before, I didn't mean what's your weather like outside at the moment. What I was alluding to was your internal weather. So what's your weather like inside of your body? And this is an analogy, which means that it's a helpful way when words don't do it justice to explain how we feel. So if you could match your internal weather state today, if you could match your mood to that, what would it be? So what would your mood be if it was a weather state? So an example might be if you're feeling quite angry, you might say that your weather is a thunderstorm today. You might say your weather is quite rainy if you're feeling quite sad. Or maybe there's just even a glimmer of hope today. Maybe the day hasn't been all darkness. So maybe it's a cloudy day with some sunshine poking through. So what would your weather type be? And to get a broader sense of our internal weather, we can also check in with our physical bodies. So how does your body feel? How does the body feel? Does it feel pleasant, unpleasant? You might also want to check in with your thoughts. So are the thoughts more future orientated, or maybe your thoughts are more related to the past? or maybe you're able to be here in this present moment. So taking in all of that information, your body, your thoughts, your emotions. What weather type would you be? And then if your eyes have been closed, you can gently open your eyes. And if you feel cold to, you can pop your weather type in the comment box below. My particular weather today was, I guess it was quite mixed really on check-in. It was a little bit of sunshine poking through, some clouds, but also a little bit of fog. A little bit of fog. So checking in this way can be really helpful practice because very often much of us whiz through the day, we move through the day super fast without really checking in with how we are. And just maybe taking the time throughout the day just to check in with how we are. Maybe that practice might just support you because what it enables us to do is it enables us to see how we're feeling, but then to also follow up with a very important question, which is, what do I need now? And sometimes the way that we feel can be linked to a number of different reasons, even as basic as dehydration. You know, we can feel a particular way, we can feel low in energy, we could feel like, pain in the body, in the head, we could feel a dryness in our mouth, and it might just be because you've not had enough fluid. And hydration can completely change the way that we feel from an energy point of view, concentration point of view, mood point of view, all these kind of basic things that many of us forget. And of course, this is just a basic example, but just to highlight how that checking in, just to check in with how we are, can shine a light on exactly what it is we might need. And if we can figure that out, then to, of course, meet that need. We encourage checking in a lot here at Ellie's Gift. It's a practice that serves us through various different things. I do apologise, there's a plane flying overhead at the moment, which is really loud in my environment. I don't know if you can hear that. But yeah, checking in is a really, really helpful practice to do. So it might be something that you want to take forward. So I'm going to then take the session now through into the next part, sorry, which is the guided mindfulness practice. So wherever you are, I would like to invite you just to get yourself into a comfortable position. Now I'm of course sitting up, I'm actually sitting on the floor at the moment. I have some cushions to support me. But you might find that you want to use a wall to sit against, a chair, the bed, a sofa, or if you're feeling particularly tired, you might want to lie down. However, I would say that ideally it's probably best that you do stay awake for this practice so you can access the different the benefits from it. But of course, if your body is feeling like you need sleep, then of course listen. My yoga teacher used to say, listen to the whispers before they become shouts, which was a really great little bit of wisdom actually, because very often the body tells us a lot. If we just listen to it, it tells us a lot. So yeah, get yourself into a comfortable position. You can either allow your eyes to close or you can lower your gaze, whatever feels right for you. And also recognizing that you don't have to engage in this practice if you don't want to. It's a personal choice. So I have just prepared something to read as we move into this meditation practice. And the theme this evening is all around steadiness and grief. I really like this word, steadiness. When in grief, our whole system is carrying so much. Emotions, memories, longing, love. And because it carries so much, moments of quiet or moments where we can stop to pause can sometimes feel uncomfortable or even overwhelming. But yet, at the same time, gentle moments of steadiness can be incredibly supportive. Steadiness gives the nervous system a chance to soften, even briefly. It offers a pause where we're not trying to fix or trying to analyse or trying to brace ourselves. We're just simply allowing what's already here to be here now. In grief, steadiness isn't about going deeper into the pain. Oh no. It's about creating enough support and balance and ease to hold what we're already carrying. For many people, movement can help to arrive at a place of steadiness in a safe, gentle way. Whether that be gently moving the hands, moving the body, or moving in any way. This can act as a bridge, helping us to find moments of steadiness without feeling trapped or overwhelmed. So let's move into a practice of steadiness. So again, I'm going to invite one sound of the bell, and then I'll be guiding you through a very short practice which will involve some movement to help us connect to this present moment now, all together. As the sound of the bell fades away, I'd like to invite you to listen to the sounds that you can hear wherever you are. Let that sound be your anchor into this moment now. Where do you hear those sounds? Are they near? Are they far away? Be curious. Listen to the sounds all around you as you remain steady, solid, like a mountain. And I wonder now if you can hear the sound of your own breath as you breathe. And if that's not possible, maybe just making your breath a little bit more purposeful, a little bit more audible as you breathe in and breathe out. Maybe just exaggerating the breath a little bit so that you can hear your breath. And now just allowing your breath to return to its own pace, natural rhythm. We're not trying to force the breath in any way now. Becoming aware of your body and the shape of your body and all the different areas that your body connects to the surface beneath it or behind it. So these are called contact points. Your body, your breath in this moment now. And then very slowly taking your focus to your hands. Now before you move your hands, I'd just like to invite you to notice any sensations that are there in your hands. Any sensations. So maybe just tuning into your fingertips. Tuning into your palms. Tuning into every single finger and your thumb on both hands. And very, very gently just beginning to wiggle your fingers. Very, very gently. As you do this, noticing all the different sensations that are happening, the changes in temperature as you move your fingers in this way. Noticing all the different muscles that are involved in this movement. And just being aware of all of it. These hands, your hands. Very gently making a fist with both hands. Both hands making a fist. And you may want to just position your hands somewhere comfortable. So mine are resting on my thighs. My palms are facing towards the ceiling as my fingers are closed shut to make the fist. And on the next in-breath, I'd like to invite you to open your hands wide. So as you breathe in, opening the hands wide. And as you breathe out, closing the hands back down. Breathing in, opening the hands wide. Breathing out, closing the hands back down. So we're breathing in, opening up. Breathing out, closing down. And we're just doing this now at our own pace and rhythm, in tune with our own breathing, opening and closing of the hands, opening and closing of the hands. And we're just focusing and concentrating on this movement, on all the different sensations. In this moment now. Finding that steadiness through movement, where the mind is able just to concentrate on the movement, on the sensations, or not on everything else that rushes into our mind. Now, it's very, very normal for you to find that your mind is rushing around, most likely becoming distracted. This is normal during practices like these. So if this is happening to you, I'd like to invite you just to remember to take your focus back to your hands. Every time your mind starts to think and plan and remember and analyse, in a very, very gentle and kind way, just invite your focus back to the sensations in your hands as you breathe in and breathe out, finding that steadiness in this moment now. And if at any time you become tired of this practice, then of course, please stop. Choose a different focus. It might be sound again that you want to focus on. Or you might even feel comfortable focusing just on your breath in your body, wherever that feels most obvious to you. Sometimes when I focus on my own breathing, some days it's most obvious at the nose, or it might be obvious at the shoulders, or in the front of the body, or even in the back of the body. The breath is always changing, but it's always there. Finding our steadiness in this moment now. Allowing our nervous system to soften. Finding a pause. And then letting go now of the movement practice. Letting go of any focus. Just resting here now with me. becoming aware again of sounds all around you. Sounds in the space that you're in, and sounds from further away. Those sounds happening right now, in this present moment, right now. I'm going to finish by inviting 2 sounds of the bell. So there's no rush to move. Maybe just taking your time to open your eyes if they've been closed, taking in the shapes and the colours and the space that you're in. Really taking in the shapes and the colours, all the different detail, the way that the light hits the different objects in the room that you're in, shadows, light sources. Finding steadiness in grief. It's something that has and continues to serve me in grief, finding moments just to pause. Sometimes that can look different ways. Sometimes it can be just sitting with a hot drink and watching the sky for 5 minutes. It can be finding a bench, watching the birds. It can even be following my own footsteps through the supermarket, noticing the sensations of my feet on the floor. All these different ways in to find space, to find steadiness, to find moments to stop and pause. All really important. So if you have a pen nearby, that would be helpful. You don't have to have a pen. We do have the option to write your comments in the chat boxes. But I do have some reflective prompts, really. I think when we do practices like this, it's helpful to follow up with some prompts. And very often when we usually have our sharing space, sometimes I will bring a prompt into the space, a question. But this is really just about, you kind of reflecting on that experience of the practice. So let's just think about then this first reflective point. In relation to the practice this evening, what was it like for you to give yourself the time and space to just stop? What was it like? How did it feel? Was it hard? Was it easy? Was it refreshing? Did it feel foreign? Is it something new? You might want to write your reply in the chat box below. Or you may just want to write them down in a journal. Journaling's a really great thing to do, and we do promote it on our 8-week mindfulness courses to keep a journal every week. Okay, so the second reflective prompt is, during your experience of grief, where do you find steadiness? What supports you to cope? Where's your steadiness? Do you find time to stop and to connect with yourself and your own feelings and your own grief? Or do you not make the time to do that? I know there was someone once who shared that in their own grief they regularly went walking, and that offered them something of respite. There was a calming response in their body when they connected to nature, when they walked, and it gave them so much. And they made it a regular practice every day. It wasn't a long walk, it was just a daily walk. But it was really helpful for them in finding their own steadiness in the grief. A space to pause and to stop, but obviously in movement. You see, when people think of feeling calm, feeling steady, sometimes movement can feel like it isn't part of that picture, when actually there's a lot of ways into feeling a particular way, such as feeling calm. It doesn't always mean that we have to be laid down on a cushion or snuggled up, relaxed on a chair during a meditation practice. So yeah, again, pop in the comments in the chat box, or maybe jotting it down in your own journal. And then finally, the third reflexive point is, what small acts of care have you given yourself today? Think about, from the very moment that you woke up today, the very moment that you woke up, what small acts of care have you given yourself throughout the whole of your day? It doesn't have to be a big grand gesture. Now maybe there isn't anything that you can think of. Maybe there hasn't actually been anything that you have offered yourself today. But remember, small acts of care sometimes they're not very obvious. So things like making sure that we put clean socks on, making sure that we get ourselves washed, brush our teeth, have a drink when we need a drink. These can be small acts of care, self-care, when we look after ourselves. But for some, it might be going, another step further. It might be making time to go for a coffee with a book. It might be making time to listen to a favourite podcast. Something in our own interest. This might be your message to be a bit kinder with yourself in grief. Kindness to ourselves in grief is a difficult thing to do, but it's possible. And then also one last invitation really is to maybe, if you wanted to, after the session, is to share a little bit in the chat box about how you've been coping lately, if that feels right to do. Something that's been really tricky for you, or even something that supported you in grief. Remember, words shared across people, places can be really, really therapeutic. But as I said before, remember the words shared in our closed Facebook group is a closed private group, but it's still obviously public to members in that group, and also the stuff shared on YouTube is also public. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Writing your truth might just help another. Kindness to ourselves, kindness to another. Which leads me on to the final practice of the session, which is a very short loving kindness practice. So I'd like to invite you once again then, as we take ourselves through this final practice of this session, to either close your eyes or lower your gaze, and I'm going to invite the sound of one bell. So this practice then is a very short kindness practice, and it's a practice that I usually finish with during our sessions that we have been delivering on Zoom. So let's all take in one deep breath together. So breathing in and then releasing the breath. Just breathing now at your own pace, in your own rhythm, in your usual way. So very, very gently, just placing one hand on your heart space, connecting your hand to your chest, to your body. And feel your body move as you breathe. Breathing in, breathing out. Notice your hand moving with your body as you breathe, moving up and down with the in-breath and with the out-breath. And recognizing this hand on your chest as an act of kindness, an act of kindness, an act of care, an act of love and support for yourself. Holding yourself in compassion. Seeing all that you're holding, all that you're carrying, all that you're going through every single day. Knowing that you are seen. And then very gently placing the other hand on top of the hand that connects to your chest. So both hands together now. And imagine that the hand on top is a hand of another person who has experienced baby loss. Feel that connection between your two hands. And recognizing that even though this experience might feel completely isolating, that somewhere in the world there is another who, like you, understands this burden, who, like you, understands this pain. Sending out any kind wishes or words to them now in your mind. May you find ease. May you find lighter days. May you find peace. Taking a slow, deep breath in. And as you breathe out, relaxing your hands down. Gently opening your eyes if they've been closed. And before we bring this session to a close, I just wanted to say that I too see you, whoever you are. I understand how this feels to some extent. And I wanted just to say, please do lean into the support here at Ellie's Gift and the resources and the art and anything else that we have on offer, because it's all been created with you in mind. It's all been created so that this experience of grief doesn't have to feel as heavy. Even just a little bit of ease is all that we would hope. So I'm sending you all my love, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, from one mother to another parent. And I'll see you next month. Please do comment, like, share our work. And if you're able to make a donation to the project, that would be amazing too. Thank you so much. Take care. I'll see you all soon. Bye, guys.